Hello, sisters. My name is Kiki, and welcome to the session, Holy Women Dream Holy Dreams. I am so excited to be here with you today. But most of all, I am excited to have you receive this gift because the Lord is going to do amazing things in your heart today, sister. If you are a woman with a dream that has been kept captive, this is the talk for you. Okay, now a little bit about me. I'm a culture project missionary, a speaker with an organization that has set out to restore the culture to be fully alive again through giving talks to young people about human integrity, or human dignity, better yet, sexual integrity and virtue. Wow. Phenomenal topics that are just so in line with what it is to be human, right? So to get a little bit into my talk today, I want to lead you guys through the roadmap of what is my life. Okay. And I want you guys to take note of this to see if anything resonates with you and what the Lord wants to speak to you today. Okay. What he wants to say to your heart today. All right. To start off, I want to say to you and ask you this question. Do you know that your biggest wounds reveal your biggest mission? Your biggest wounds reveal your biggest mission. Do you know that? I surely did not. I led my whole life, most of my life, maybe up to the time that I was like 24, thinking that my biggest wounds were my destiny, that was the only trajectory of my life, and that is where I was headed, this uphill of sufferings. My goodness, I was clueless. I was clueless to the truth of God's love for me, the truth of God's truth for me. I know it sounds redundant, but it's so true. It's so true that God desires more for your life than just that. Okay. And in order for me to really cement this in your heart today, I want to be able to invite you into my story and how I got here, how I got to feel this freedom of heart. And I want to invite the same for your life. Okay. So now, one of the biggest things that I know a lot of us may be products of, right, are being children of wedlock. I was a child born out of wedlock, and I did not know my whole life that this is something that had tremendously impacted me. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I realized, oh my goodness, the fact that I was born out of wedlock and that my family was not created through the beautiful, sacrament of marriage, there is pain there. There is a lot of pain there. And I had to allow myself to grieve that because I was bearing this sense of loss for God's image through my parents, through my biological parents. Because it's true, our parents are supposed to be that image of God's love for us in our lives. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that until my mom then married or remarried my stepfather, who was in my life for about a period of 13 years, actually 10 years. I'm really bad at math. And he stayed as my father, and I thought of him as daddy. I called him daddy. My mom never told me that I had a biological father that was different from my stepfather until one day I found my social security card on the coffee table, and it said Crisia Hortensia Rocha. Okay, in the school system, I was Kiki Moto, or Crisia Moto. And I thought, who the heck is this imposter? Oh my goodness. I asked my mom, and she very anxiously was like, no, wait for your dad to come home. And so he did. And I ran over to him because I was a very curious little girl. And as I ran over to him, they invited me into the bedroom. They sat me on his lap, and they started telling me the truth about myself. He said to me, I so wish that I was your biological father, but I'm not. Wow. I remember being that 8-year-old little girl and feeling like this, another sense of loss, right? This grievance, thinking, who am I? Who am I? This loss of identity. Who am I? Because our identity definitely comes from our parents. Again, they're the image of God's love for us, right? And so I didn't have that at all. And that was very traumatic for me. That was really traumatic for me. I needed to pivot really fast and grow up in a way that I didn't feel like I needed to grow up in now looking back. And so this was horrible because I'm going to lead into a story while I kind of tell you guys a little bit of the story on the back end, okay? So my mom ended up ended up divorcing my stepfather. And that was indeed something that just like broke my heart, because my stepfather was a father figure to me, but he ended up cheating on my mother. And I saw my mom through so much pain, and she again became a single mother. At the same time, I was entering into a relationship with my biological father as I got enough courage to meet him, right? It took me 5 years, you guys, to muster up the courage to meet my biological father, because I was such an insecure little girl thinking I'm too fat, I'm too ugly to meet him. He's not going to love me. Man, does this resonate with any of you guys? Do you ever remember being so insecure as a little girl? I surely do. So from the divorce, right, I had this need to grow up fast, and I didn't have that space or time to really cement my femininity, because my mom, being the model, right, of what femininity is, I was at a loss of what the complement for femininity was. And there is a beautiful synchrony in masculine and feminine relationship with your father and as a daughter, right? And I didn't have that synchrony of masculinity and femininity, that reaffirmation in my heart in relating with my father. So this was, again, a loss for me, a big one. And so as I entered the relationship with my biological father at 13, it quickly became one of abuse. Okay? All I wanted was a father. All I wanted was for me to be the apple of his eye. All I wanted was a relationship. All I wanted was identity. And what I got was an abuser. The man who was created by the Lord to be the man who guarded my virtue and my dignity and my beauty became the man who exploited it and degraded it. This is so hard, right? This is so hard because I felt destroyed as I endured 6 years of sexual abuse. 6 years, you guys. I lost my virginity. He stole it. He stole my innocence. He stole my peace of mind. He stole what was supposed to be my teenage years, my childhood, the rest of my childhood, really. How am I still standing today? It is by the grace of God, really. It's through that I realized that my self-image started kind of dwindling, because of this, because he was inflicting so much this self-hatred upon me, right? I began to hate myself. I began to hate myself so much that I began to gorge myself with food in order to numb the pain of everything that was, being done to me in my body, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my life. Wow. The last thing I want to share with you guys is that as I got older, and as my mom found out about the sexual abuse, and as I got healing for it, my mom told me one other thing. She said to me, because I started working at pro-life ministry, she said to me, Kiki, I want you to know that you have a story. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And she's like, Kiki, you have a story. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me. She said, when I was pregnant with you and you were 12 weeks, your father and I made an appointment for an abortion facility. Okay? And we drove to the abortion facility. And as I entered the abortion facility, I sat down and I had this surge of courage overwhelm me. And I knew that in my mind, the Holy Spirit was telling me, Martha, what are you doing? Your job as a mother is to nurture, to guide and protect this baby, this little girl that is yours. And she said to me, and that is when I got up and I walked away. Better yet, she ran away, she said. She said, I ran and I didn't look back. But Kiki, I want you to know that although you survived, and I'm so happy that you survived, you have 2 siblings who didn't. I aborted twice before you. Wow. I embraced my mother in her pain and I celebrated the first step to healing. But I also knew that there was something that I had to deal with. Okay, I had to be able to process the fact that I was almost going to be obliterated by my own mother, by my father, right? And the fact that I felt like in that moment in time, there was a wound of rejection that rose up in my heart and that I had to process and heal from for the rest of my life. You may not have been, an abortion survivor, but you very well have been rejected in your life. I bet, because human condition, right? Whether it's been by someone who's bullied you, whether it's been by someone who said no to reverencing your dignity, whatever it is, sister, I understand. I get it. So you see, I have been wounded by several things, right? I've been wounded by the lack of holy matrimony in my life with my parents, being a child out of wedlock, being born into wedlock or out of wedlock. I'm so sorry. Being a child of divorce and a daughter of a single mother, being an abortion survivor and having failed father figures, and having an eating disorder, which I know is something that resonates with all of us as women. So my question now is your life meant to just be for suffering? Is suffering what makes us holy? Because I know that in our Catholic faith, that is oftentimes what we hear. And that is the story and the narrative that sometimes plays in our head. Okay, Lord, like help me offer this up, right? Well, how often do we say that? Offer it up, girl, offer it up. Sometimes I've gone numb to that because I think that when we don't know what that means, we don't know what to do with it. Okay. And I have to tell you, I have this beautiful friend. Her name's Catherine. She's one of my best friends. And as I was talking to her and telling her, Kat, I feel like I'm entering into this season of my life where God is helping me dream again, where he's making me free in the desires of my heart. And I was really encouraging her to do the same. But she said, hold on, Kiki, hold on. I'm having the hardest time hearing you out. And I said, okay, let's talk about this. She said, I'm going through a really hard time right now. I have alopecia, right? I am suffering a lot. I just got laid off from my job because of COVID. I'm not able to see my family. I don't like my body, right? Why are you talking to me about dreaming and joy? Like, who are you, Kiki, right? That's essentially what she was saying. I kind of helped her out a little bit. And I said, Kat, you have a point. I could see what you mean. She responded to me, yeah, I mean, oftentimes I hear about this prosperity gospel, like, oh, the Lord is good, like your dreams, like, goals, strive for better. Like, what does that mean? Kiki, we're meant to suffer with God. And I said, wow, okay, there's something there for us to talk about. And I want you guys to know that as Catherine and I entered into this conversation, it was a very mutual, like back and forth, trying to get to a middle ground and figure out what the truth of this is. Because the real question for me was, well, are suffering and joy meant to be divorced, right? We often hear let go and let God. Which one is it then? Which one is it? Let go and let God, or act and God will act when it comes to our dreams? Which one is it? So you hear dream. Yeah, Kiki, but I don't know how. I get it. I want to let you know that when it comes to your dreams, God has planted in you, he's put in you a mission, okay? And oftentimes that comes in the way of dreams. And yes, that could mean like actual dreams, but I'm talking about like dreams of the heart mostly, right? And these missions are created to be able to set forth the path to your destiny and how you're meant to go to heaven. So in the beginning of the talk, I asked you, did you know that your wounds reveal your greatest mission? Sister, I'm standing before you here today as a chastity speaker. Someone whose own chastity was stolen. Someone whose virginity was stolen by her very father. Someone who has no father, someone who is a daughter of a single mom, someone who's an abortion survivor, talking about human dignity and sexual integrity and virtue, right? And this is all because of God. So I wanna have you know that dreams are very much God ordained, okay? They're God given. So I want to let you know that like your dreams are not meant to stay in the cloud. Like, I don't want you to think of the word dream and think of like this fluffy word. 'Cause I can be fluffy, but that's not what I'm intending to say. what I want you to know is that God will not do the work for you. Sister, if you've been dreaming of creating that business, of starting that career path, of getting married in the church, of changing certain habits, of creating a new lifestyle for yourself, of becoming a saint, right? God will not do the work for you. He will also not deem you more deserving because you do more work, right? It's not based on like how much you do. So I want you to know that this is a gift. This is a gift that God gives you, your dreams. And they're meant to take you to holiness. They're meant to make you holy. Now, what does it mean to be holy women who dream holy dreams? Again, you have been given a God-given dream, a God-given mission. A dream is a mission. God will not do the work for you. Your dreams can make you holy, you guys, because they take virtue to reach them. As I was talking to Catherine, I realized that a lot of the times we divorce suffering and joy because we feel like we have to stay with the crucified Christ. And although that is true, right, we need to also remember that we are an Easter people and that the pathway to the resurrection is through the crucifixion. Okay, so hear me out. What I am not saying is that I'm not saying that your sufferings should not be acknowledged and should not be offered up to God. Please do that. Please acknowledge and offer those sufferings up to the Lord. But know that those sufferings, after being acknowledged and after being offered up, are going to be redeemed and transformed to something greater. Okay? You were willed into existence because your life has tremendous purpose. You have been entrusted with this dream. So I want you guys to be courageous and march forth. Saint Joan of Arc, one of my favorite saints, has a saying that I'm sure maybe a lot of you guys are familiar with. She says, I am not afraid. I was born to do this. Ask God for courage. Ask Him to help you say yes. Okay? Because as I was talking to Catherine, my friend, we realized that for us to be able to like not just stay in our suffering takes tremendous courage. It is so easy, especially for Catholics, to use their suffering and their wounds and their struggle as a crutch. Because guess what? In order to reach your dream, it's going to take painful transformation that is going to change your life. And I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. I'm entering a season of my life where I feel like the Lord is asking that of me a little bit more. Okay? And I told a mentor of mine, I told him, you know what, David? I feel like I'm afraid to say yes to this dream because I'm afraid of what it's going to take to become the woman that I need to be to show up for that dream. Being real with y'all. Okay, I'm with you. I know that it's not easy, but it is so doable with the grace of God and with community. Oh my goodness, that's why I love retreats like this. So a little bit of practical ways that we can have this be developing in our lives, right? This mindset, because it is really a mindset. Like, I want you guys to know that dreaming is a skill set. Dreaming takes competency and consistency, and it takes habits. In fact, dreaming is such a skill set, and I didn't know this, that it actually takes work in rewiring your brain, your neural pathways that allow for your thoughts to work in certain ways, right? So like if I'm constantly getting up in the morning and thinking I am useless, like, you know, I have no worth, I'm so ugly, I'm fat, etc., those are neural pathways that I'm creating in my brain that shoot the same way. And it perpetuates this negative self-talk, right? And it leads us to really bad self-worth, really low self-worth. So what I'm asking you guys today is to also realize that dreaming is a skill set. It's going to take rewiring of those neural pathways to be able to help you dream better, to be able to help you understand that you are worthy and you are dignified in the dreams that God has given you. Okay? So although I know I was saying how like I don't want you guys to think of it as just like a fluffy thing, I want you guys to know that although it can be a fluffy thing, It can also be very practical, right? And that's the way that we get things done. That's the way that we set forth and reach a goal. So some things that I know will help you guys is, one, tell God how you know that he has put that dream in your heart. Tell him. He wants to know that. Because in you telling him, you open yourself up wide like Mary and you say, Lord, I receive this. I'm letting you know that I acknowledge that you've put this dream in my heart and I receive it, Lord. Give your fiat to him. That's the second point. Give your fiat to him. Say yes. Just like Mary. And then 3, write down your dream every day. Write it down, even if you have to break it down every day into little parts that are realistic and reachable. And if you have to pivot, sister. It is okay. Life happens. That does not mean that you're not meant for your dream or that you're not meant to dream. So just know that, okay? Now, fourth thing that I want to let you guys know is guard your dreams. Another mentor of mine, I love having mentors in my life. Another mentor of mine told me, Kiki, when you are in the beginning phases of a dream, it is important to guard it. Guard it because it's special and it's sacred. And because it is God-given, not everybody will understand. And so you need to be careful about others not polluting your God-given dream with thoughts of discouragement, with words of discouragement, with actions of discouragement. So be careful whom you share your dream with. And pray about it, of course. And lastly, sisters, as we conclude this talk, I want to let you guys know and reiterate once more that you are meant to be crucified with Christ so that you can resurrect with him. That is something that is written in our blood, okay? It is written in our hearts. It is written in our DNA. That is who we are. We are the Easter people, and hallelujah is our name. I love that quote by JP2. I want you guys to live this out, and I challenge you to start today. I want to invite you guys into this prayer that I discovered a few days ago. It goes like this. It says, may the Lord Jesus put his hand on our eyes. Also, for then we too shall begin to look not at what is seen, but at what is not seen. May he open the eyes that are concerned not with the present, but with what is yet to come. May he unseal the heart's vision that we may gaze on God in the Spirit through the same Lord Jesus Christ, whose glory and power will endure throughout the unending succession of ages. Now, as a last thing, I'll tell you what really stuck out to me. In this prayer, I felt the Lord talking to me. In the phrase, put his hand on our eyes, as if he's asking me to close my eyes and open the eyes of my heart. For then we too shall begin to look at not what is seen, but what is not seen. What is in the inside? What is in your heart, begging you to come out and be materialized, right? He opened the eyes, not with the present, with what is yet to come. What is yet to come. Your dreams are in the future. They're being made. It's a becoming, right? And it takes virtue. And lastly, unseal the heart's vision that we may gaze on God in the Spirit. Wow. Again, our heart is so much aligned with God's vision for our life. If we just ask him for the grace of virtue and ask him for the grace of being able to listen to his voice and ask him for the grace of courage to be able to do and act, right? So with that, sister, I want to give you guys just this moment in time to ask the Lord to enter into the space of your heart and in your mind, of your life, and invite him to help you be courageous like St. Joan of Arc. The saints, they dreamt. If you just look up St. John Bosco and the dreams that he had, oh my goodness, I was reading upon this a few days ago, and I realized, wow, Lord, like it is so real how you talk to us through dreams in our minds when we sleep, but it's also so real how you speak to us through the dreams of our heart. What are you going to be doing with this one glorious life?